Hello, welcome to Unboxing Alyss, the YouTube channel with our purple box that unboxes things. I am Alistair Frost, and today we are covering Whinny City. Rather, with this month we're covering Whinny City. So yeah, if you are new to my channel and you haven't seen me do any of my con videos, I always do a what I did video and then a what I bought. And what I bought's gonna be really long. So this video is just all about my con weekend. I'm very excited to tell you guys about because it was a lot of fun. Whinny City Pony Con happens in Schaumburg, Illinois, and this year it was the 5th through the 7th, or the 4th through the 6th, whatever that Friday through Sunday is. Though I went up the day before. And as usual, it was a blast. I got to have a lot of fun with my friends in short, and I also, well, in short, I got to have a lot of fun with my friends as well as help the con out as a volunteer. And that is the shirt I'm actually wearing right now. This is this year's Winnie City shirt. It features Sleepy Bean and the Ren Fair theme. It is very bright. If you saw my PB or Ponyville Ciderfest convention video, this probably looks a lot like that shirt. And I was looking for this shirt for this video, and I found the PVCF one, and it's just a darker yellow. So makes sense. I am part of the Royal Guard. We are security. We are supposed to be very bright and easy to find. So I just found it hilarious that I was a ripe banana in the fall, and now I'm a banana cream pie in the summer, I guess. But yeah, I'll go right into it. Also, you'll see random pictures. I mean, the pictures will have to do with the con. They won't necessarily have to do with what I'm talking about at the moment. I'm just going to be putting up pictures that I have. I tend to have less pictures for the pony cons as opposed to the furry ones because furry ones have more suitors. But you'll see a bunch of really cool stuff, as well as a couple. Well, one thing that I'm going to talk about in a second that is not con related, but went with the theme, so we did it. Anywho, so my con actually starts the Sunday before, or not the con itself, but some drama. Because I had gotten our hotel in December, I thought, the day it opened. And I went to change something in our room and can't find our room. And I call them, they can't find my room. And I'm freaking out because I'm like, oh my God, we don't have a hotel room. How did I mess this up? I've been going to cons for years. I am usually the one that plans the hotel and stuff. Never messed up this bad. I was freaking out. Luckily, and I will also be adjusting my head because it hurts. Sorry. Luckily, the guy found a one king bedroom for Friday through Sunday or Friday through Monday. I was like, yes, that is fine. I had to beg my friends Karen Chen and Sailor Texas to stay with them Thursday night, and they were more than happy to help me. I was there anyway for our medieval times trip anyway, so it worked out. And they had like a two doubles, which, okay, this is gonna sound stupid, but when I hear two doubles, it doesn't always mean like a double bed, like a double room. It sometimes means like a queen. Or two queens. It sometimes means like two fulls. This was two doubles, so very very small beds, and I am not small. Luckily, I was sharing with Sailor Texas. She is small, so it worked out pretty well. But yeah, that was my first bit of drama for this, and it was completely my fault. But I remember when Pink Sands asked, "Hey, are you guys like back in December? Are you guys interested in going to Winnie City?" I was like, "Oh, just got the room, so we're good." I don't know why I would send that or if I didn't have the room. So, oh, but in fairness, I think it was Gateway Fur Meet one year. I did sign up for a room, and then I couldn't find it. So I signed up for another room because it wasn't in my records. And when I got there, they're like, "You have two rooms." I'm like, what? Like, yeah, you signed up for two. I'm like, can I please get rid of one and not pay? Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you're fine. So there have been instances where I have signed up for a room and I couldn't see it, but then it showed up. So I have no idea what happened. But going fast forward to Thursday, I just took that whole day off. In the past, I would usually work in the morning because I work from home on Thursdays anyway. But I was like, no, I have a lot to pack. I have a lot to coordinate. I need to make sure everything is together. I'm sorry about my head. It just is really hurting. I can never find a sweet spot for the strap to sit in the back of my head, and my head just kills. Anyway, but I woke up and clean my car, like detail clean my car and everything. And I think I left around like 11ish. This is in Schaumburg. It's about 3 hours north from me. So or 3:50. So fairly easy drive. I think there was a little bit of traffic, but not a big deal. I get there and I can't check in because this is not my room. So I'm staying with Karen Chan and Sailor, Texas. And they did have a room because they had gotten there earlier than me. They went to Mitsuwa Marketplace. It's a really cool Asian grocery store in that area. I used to go there well, not all the time, but at least once a semester when I was an undergrad. Our anime club would go because I went to NIU, Northern Illinois University. It was relatively close to that school, so we would go there as some of our part of our like semester trips. We go there and have lunch, and you get to buy groceries and stuff like that and all that. It was really fun. So they went up pretty early because Sailor Texas also had a stand. She was a vendor. She is the Crystal Knitwit, where she knits really awesome scarves that are themed. Obviously, a lot are My Little Pony, but she has a bunch of other Pokemon. I think there's some Digimon in there. There's some Inuyasha ones, Avatar. So she has a bunch of different scarves, and they all look really, really cool. I do have a picture of her stand. So she asked me to take a picture of her stand. So I have that, and I need to send her that picture. But I get there and I initially help kind of set up the banners. If you've been to like any con, they usually have some banners throughout the con that say registration and con ops or the specific rooms that they're for. And so I was helping them set those up, and then I helped Sailor Texas with her stand. And about that time, my stuff's still in the car. I didn't really have time to unload. And Karen Chan went to get a friend of theirs, and we were all going to Medieval Times. So Thursday night, that's what we did. We went to Medieval Times, which is also in Schaumburg. If you've never heard of it, it's one of those dinner and a show type of events. So, you have a fairly expensive ticket, depending on what kind of ticket you get. I think the starting price was like 65 with discount, and it can get really high up depending on if you want, VIP seating, or you get like extra, dessert or whatever, or like a photo, all of that. So we did do I think it was the royal tier, so still kind of a VIP, just not like the top tier or whatever. But it is very much Renaissance themed, or like medieval themed, hence medieval times, and it worked really well because the theme for Whinny City was Ren Fair this year, which is really cool. So we went to that, and this was my first time going to medieval times. I've never been before now. I've actually, I think, I haven't really been to like a dinner theater, to my knowledge, to my recollection. Like I've been to like the hibachi place where they cook the food in front of you and they do like some funky tricks every once in a while. That's about it. So this has like a whole story that you're watching unfold in front of you. What's her name? Dolly Parton's. Well, it's called the Stampede now, formerly Dixieland Stampede. It down in Branson. That's something similar to this. Just like a Southern themed. I don't know. Um, but no, we went to that. It was a really, really fun, just really, really cool, and just it was a fun story. And we were in, I guess there are 6 different kingdoms, and they each have their own knight. We were the black and white knight. I should have brought some of my medieval stuff. My medieval stuff is with the other merch, so I didn't think to put that in this video. But I had a little pennant I could wave, which I apparently waved too much because it got really frayed. But we saw, some falconers and some people doing tricks with the horses. They had some really beautiful horses. The type of horse is escaping me. I want to say like Andalusian or something. I think I just made that word up. But they are beautiful. I'll put pictures of medieval times stuff up here. I don't know if our knight won all of the things, but I don't think he did. He did really, really well. I got a picture with him, and I got a group picture of us as well. Again, just a lot of fun. I did get, I don't drink very much, but I did get an alcoholic beverage because they came with a really cool drinkware. And there was a mug I really liked. The mug was better than the drink, honestly. The drink was basically colored water, honestly. I don't know if it had just too much ice in it, which I can't order without ice. I tried. So that could be it. But the mug is nice. So you'll see the mug in the next video because that's part of merch. But I also got a magnet for my mom. Really nice magnet that had all of the, I guess, houses on it. And it like spun. So next time I go visit my mom, I'll try and take a picture of that because I don't own that. So I won't have the physical item. But, well, I don't own it anymore. I gave it to her. It was a lot of fun. And we just kind of hung out the rest of the night. Around, I don't know, maybe 11 or something, I took Kay back to her place in Thing of the City. So I just kind of got, shower, all of that, just preparing for the weekend. And that was Thursday. Thursday was a very, very long day. A large chunk of it was driving, but it ended really well. And I was happy I got to experience medieval times with my friends. And I think it's just a fun experience if you've never been. Definitely not an everyday thing for sure. It is way too expensive for that. But I think it's a very fun experience. So you do check it out if you are in the Schaumburg area and you have the time. Because it's probably about 2 or 3 hours. And again, it's a whole story of, all of these different houses coming together and celebrating their truce, I guess. I will say, though, they mentioned that when they started, that all the houses were like in a truce or like we're all together right now. So, cheer loudest for your night, but cheer for the others too. So it really really annoying when our like not our night came out and people were going boo. I was like, come on, guys. Don't do that. That's really poopy sportsmanship. So just don't. Anyhow, that was Thursday. So Friday's when the gauntlet starts. Weirdly enough, I wasn't working most of Friday. Like, not all the day. It started, I think my first shift was actually 5 for several reasons. I guess they had other people covering the morning, but there were also a couple of things I was going to go to. So I got to spend a lot of that in the vendor hall, to be perfectly honest. The vendor hall as well as the con store. And the con store just seems to be in the air. Sometimes you can get in and out with no problems, and other times there's like an hour-long line. And in this case, it was the latter, unfortunately. There was one particular thing I saw being sold at Ponyville Ciderfest, and I was like, "What the heck is this? I don't know what this is. Why are they selling? I know this character wears this, but I don't get it." But I later saw promotional material for this con. I was like, "Oh, is this character wearing it for this? I don't. Now I want this." And you'll see it in the next video. But initially, I thought they sold out. I was like, no, but they did not. So that took a bit of time going through the con store, and of course, the vendor hall was huge. I did take my 4 remaining. Well, I have one thorax pin from Miss Melee's Ponytail Pride that was signed. I showed you guys that in PVCF because Kyle Wright. I signed the back of it. And then I kept a spare just in case. That's just something I do. So I had 4 thoraxes left, and I went ahead and took those to get sold. Sailor Texas was very, very generous and letting me sell those pins as well as 4 others. I'm not going to mention the other pin because it actually hasn't been unboxed yet, but it was another sponsor thing from Miss Melee, an upcoming pin campaign for her. I did sponsor another character and I got extras because that's how the sponsorships work. So I kept 2 of that pin, 4 others were sent out for sale. And I was nervous because A, Miss Melee is at this con and she is selling too. B, she has the pin I'm not going to mention, though I think hers might have been like the off color one. Like there's a certain part of the character that was supposed to be one color and it wasn't for hers. It was correct for mine because I'm the sponsor. But I guess hers were like more B grade. But I was very happy to sell all 8 of my pins. Those were really, really awesome. So I gained money during this convention. But yeah, most of the day was just going through the vendor hall because it's so big and I have to talk to every other vendor. But it was a lot of fun and I did get to dress up. I tried getting some Renaissance themed clothing. I didn't want to go super expensive because I've never done this before. I've never gone to a Ren fair either, which I mentioned that to Sailor Texas and Karen Chan, and they just looked at me like I have three heads. I was like, I live in Central Illinois. There are no Ren fairs here. So I'm hoping to go with them to the Ren fair in St. Louis this year. But again, I didn't want to spend a ton of money. It's something I don't normally go to. I was able to find like a nice skirt. My mom let me borrow some of a pair of really cute boots, but they were a little too hard on my ankles after a while, so I just could not wear them for very long. It sucked because they really pulled the look together. But Sailor Texas also had a flower crown. You'll see some of these in pictures I have up here. And also this like cape that was really sparkly and had moons and stuff on it. And everyone and their grandma loved the cape. Like, oh my god, I love your cape. Like, where'd you get it? I was like, Crystal Knitwit. She let me borrow it. Not by the third. But yeah, I did a lot of going to the vendor hall and taking note of things I want. I stupidly did not take a pen with me for some reason. Because usually I will grab, if they have a business card, I will write on the back of it what I'm interested in, how much it costs. And then that night, usually, or whenever I have some downtime, I will try to compile, okay, I want this, I want that, this costs that. And you just figuring out what I want versus what I absolutely have to have versus what I can live without because you can't buy everything you see. You just, well, unless you have unlimited money, which I don't. So that was a lot of the day until about one where I went up and got my Build-A-Bears because at this convention we had Andrea Libman, we had Kazumi Evans, Chris Britton, Lauren. I will figure out her name. For some reason, I can never remember her last name. And we had a woman named Agnes, and she is a what do you call it? Like a artist. So Andrea Libman plays Pinkie Pie and Fluttershy, two of the main characters from G4. Kazumi Evans plays Moon Dancer and a few other background characters. She also is the singing voice for Rarity as well as Princess Luna. Lauren is Silverstream, one of the young six from G4. Chris Britton is Starswell the Bearded, who is one of the six pillars from G4. And Agnes is not a VA, I just said that. So I was going to see Andrea and Kazumi. Andrea signed my Build-A-Bear Fluttershy, my Build-A-Bear Pinkie Pie, as well as the sparkly Pinkie Pie that I have for some reason. Well, actually, I know the reason. It was at a Whinny City. The only other time I've been to Whinny City is 2018. I was in their pony show trivia that year with a different set of friends, and we won because of a like 15-year-old girl that knew all of the things. And I got a sparkly Pinkie Pie through that. So she went and signed that, and then Kazumi signed my Rarity and my Luna. And I know I've stretched this out a bit so you can see my whole pony wall. Excuse that hole. There should be some Celestia themed pin board like that one. I just need to figure out a way how to stick it up there without peeling paint off. So you might not be able to see. There are Build-A-Bears on both sides. That's what these cabinets are for. That is why I bought them. But you may not be able to see those characters. Possibly Pinkie over here. And if you can, you should be able to see the what do you call it? The signature. But if you can't, it's fine. I will put up a picture of all 5 of them signed in the next video because I count that as merch. I'm not pulling them out of the cabinets again. It's a pain in the butt. Because it's not just the Build-A-Bears, there's a bunch of little trinkets around them, so I'm not doing that. But I went ahead and got those signed. Luckily, I was a sponsor this year, so I didn't have to stay in the really long line, because Andrea's line was nasty. I mean, most of the lines weren't great, but Andrea's was especially bad, because everyone and their grandma wanted to see Andrea, which makes sense, because she's voicing 2 of the mains. But I was able to get out of that line pretty quickly, me being a sponsor. Sponsors go after the ADA and child line. So, and I was the first one there. I got there at one. I expected a horrible line. Even as a sponsor, I expected a horrible line. So, and I got there so early, I ended up helping them set up like the lines because they had, child and ADA here. They had sponsors over here. And then the rest of the lines were just by person, by who you wanted to see. Agnes wasn't doing signatures. She is an artist, and if you bought something from her in the vendor hall, she would just sign it for free. So she's not in the autograph lines, but you have your Andrea's line, Kazumi, Chris for a while. He ended up leaving the con a little early, and then Laura. So Lauren, not Laura. But yeah, I had a lot of fun meeting Kazumi. She is really, really sweet and really bubbly. And I really just, Andrea, just, I don't know, she just oozes. I don't know. I can't describe it. It was really awesome meeting both of them. I did get a picture because I bought a combo voucher when I was there. So I do have a picture with Andrea. I wish I could have gotten a picture with Kazumi as well. Now, she may show up at another convention. Who knows? I also got word from Pink Sands, who is one of my co-hosts in our Everypony Should Pony podcast. Listen to us, by the way. She loves Pinkie Pie. She just absolutely loves Pinkie Pie. And when she went to see Andrea, she just exploded. I didn't get to see it, unfortunately. They were in line, the regular line, when I got in line. But she's like, "Oh my god, it was a crazy experience. I loved it." And she actually had Pinkie Pie tattooed on her leg, and she took a picture with Andrea, and Andrea's holding her tattooed leg. It's really great. But after that, I did go back on duty after trying to move more of my stuff into our room because uh, Pink Sands and JD came about 10:30, so they came pretty early, and they knew we didn't have a room yet at that point. But I think I was able to do an early check-in around 1, so I gave them one of the keys, and I worked on trying to get some of my stuff from Sailor and Karen's out of room into our room, but I did go on duty from 3 to 5, so just me kind of roaming until 5, and then I'm going to a sponsor event, and this is specifically for Pegasus and Equestria sponsors. So those are the two highest sponsor tiers, and I'm a Pegasus sponsor. So I'm going into this, and I'm like, okay, what are we doing? Because I've never been this high of a sponsor before. I've been a sponsor once before at Ponyville Ciderfest, but it was not this tier. So or this equivalent tier. They have different names for the tiers, but they mean kind of the same thing. So I had no idea what to expect. And I get there and I sit at a random table and I see one of the volunteers passing something out and he's saying, okay, I'm going to trust you guys to be, what do you call it? What's the word? Responsible with these hammers and like give them to you. And I was like, what is happening? Why are you giving us hammers? What is going on? And it turns out just in the vein of the Renaissance theme, there were a couple volunteers that are really into like metalworking. And they talked about how metalworking's been around since basically humans and is used from everything from jewelry to weapons to tools to just whatever you can think of. Very, very useful skill to have. And so that is what our sponsor event was. It was metalworking. They gave us some aluminum wire, a few washers, and an actual hammer, like a hammer you buy at Menards or whatever, and like a little metal plate to hammer on, so you wouldn't bust up the table. And they just said to go nuts. And okay, there should have been some more instruction and maybe a slideshow. I don't know. Because we were a little confused. None of us had done this before. And the guest of honor did join us. And Kazumi happened to sit at our table next to me. I remember when she came, she's like, oh my gosh, what are we doing? I was like, we have no idea. At the time, we had no clue what was happening. But it was fun chaos. Okay, for some sort of reason, my ring light went off. I don't know why. So, we were talking about metalworking, and yeah, it was chaos. We didn't know what we were doing. You were supposed to take the hammer and hammer or pound the wire flat, and then shape it later, and take because that was the flat end of the hammer, and you had a rounded end on the other side of the hammer, and you were supposed to hit the washers to give them a bit of texture and just give them a really cool looking look. A cool look. There we go. I fixed it. But we did not know what we were doing. So what you you hammering the wire is not a big deal. It's not going anywhere. But with the washers are, they're not even the, like, if you turn my claw into a circle, they're not even close to that big. These are small washers. And so you have to hold them down to hit them. So you're going to hit your fingers, because I did many a time. Or you can just leave them there and hit them. And that doesn't work either, as we found out. Because Kazumi and I would try that. And when you hit a washer, it goes flying. So some of hers flew at me and flew at Nurse Matt and flew at a few other people. And mine are flying. It's not working. Eventually, she took the piece of wire and looped one of the washers on it and then held the wire and pounded the washer. So that way your fingers aren't close to the washer and it's not flying anywhere. So good on Kazumi for that. But then you're hitting you're hitting the washer and the wire holding it. So that part of the wire is getting really weak. So unfortunately, her wire broke in two and my wire broke in two because I did what she did because I was tired of hitting my fingers. But it was fine. I ended up making a pair of almost symmetrical earrings, and I will show those in the next video. I could have shown them now, but whatever. But yeah, I'm kind of impressed with what I did. So that was a very, very fun panel, and I just that because my sponsor tier was not cheap. But I have said multiple times that Charlie and Michelle really make these tiers worth it. Like that experience that's worth it. It's just that absolute craziness. But I got two really cool earrings out of it, as well as a new free hammer. And since since I moved in this house, I've lost my hammer, like my actual hammer, and I cannot find it. It's got to be somewhere in this dumb house, but I cannot find it. So this was an extra bonus because I did need a new hammer because I can't find my old one. So it was great. But after that, I actually didn't go back on duty because the Grand Galloping Gala was coming up. So I went in my, back to our room. We are now moved in to our hotel room. So goodbye, Karen Chan and Sailor Texas. Thank you for letting me stay. But myself, Pink Sands, and JD are now in our room with just the one king bed because that's all they had. So it's fine. They took the bed. I'm on the couch because I messed up, and I acknowledge that. But Pink Sands and I were going to the gala. JD didn't have a ticket, so he, Karen Chan, and Sailor Texas ended up going to Mitsuwa again just after the vendor hall closed. So Sailor Texas closed up her shop, but then they all went to Mitsuwa and had a good time. I don't think JD had ever been to Mitsuwa. I'd never heard of it, so he really enjoyed himself just seeing that really cool grocery store, and they did a lot of good food for not instant food, but like restaurants for dinner. But Pink Sands and I went to the actual gala. We got all dressed up. I do have a picture of us. I will put that around here somewhere. A lot of really nicely dressed people. That's kind of the point, though. It is kind of like the Grand Galloping Gala in the show. It is a formal event to the point where you cannot wear like jeans or torn clothing or anything. They do want people to look nice. So I wore a Nigerian dress that my father gave me, or he actually had it made for me while he was in Nigeria. He said, "Hey, what are your measurements?" Like, Dad, what? He's like, yeah. I'm gonna have a tailor or seamstress or whatever, make us some outfits before I leave in like 3 days. Who's making outfits for 5 people in 3 days? Okay, Dad, measurements there. But he got this made, and you'll see the dress. And I absolutely love this dress. It barely fits. It's a little tight in some areas, but I was able to make it work, and I still need to lose 20 pounds anyway, so whatever. But no, we both looked adorable. We got some good pictures taken. They have nerves there, so I told her to stuff her face because this is dinner. And Nurse Matt actually joined us. Nurse Matt is one of the Royal Guard, but he also doubles as an actual medic because he is a nurse in real life. So we got to chat with him, and they had some live band and a big dance floor so people could kind of do whatever they want. At one point, they were showing you how to do some traditional medieval dances, and Matt asked if one of us wanted to dance, and Pink Sands like, no. But I was like, sure, I'll give it a shot. Pretty sure I stepped on his toes, but he was a good sport about it if I did. But no, we all had a lot of fun, and it was a really fun night. And I always love going to the gala. And unfortunately, I don't think I took pictures of food this year. I'm not sure why I didn't do that. Usually I do. I know we had sliders because I had like three of those, and I think some like flatbread pizzas and like the charcuterie stuff. I don't know. I hate that word, but like the vegetables, fruit, that those trays, those type of things. So after that, I not de-suit, not de-suit, I gala, I guess. And now I am working. I am working from 9 to about two. I think I got off at 2:45, close to 3. And that's pretty uneventful because I'm roaming the entire time. There's nothing really to report there. Just looking around, making sure people are, not being dumb. That's pretty much it. And then making sure the hotel locks up things, which they're not very good at, and that's an issue at every convention I work at. We have to really get on the hotel to lock up our stuff. But we got all that sorted, and I got home around, or well, in the room about 2:45, and I had to stealth shower because things Sans and JD are definitely asleep. Luckily, they left the TV on, so diners, drives, and that show, diners, drive-ins, and dives. There we go. I fixed it by I think Guy Fieri. So that was on and kind of not blasting. It's not loud, but it is on and making noise. So I was like, yes, thank you. Okay, I'm gonna stealth shower under the cover of Guy Fieri. Ew, that kind of sounds gross. But anyway, you know what I mean. So that was Friday, and Friday was a blast. So Saturday rolls around. I am working from 9 to 10. For some reason, I thought I was working from 9 to 11, and I was patrolling. Well, like, what is it? What do I call it? Patrol shopping, where I will go through like the vendor hall, and I will look around. No one's stealing. No one's stealing. No one's stealing. Ooh, that looks nice. No one's stealing. No one's stealing. No one's stealing. Grab that later. No one's stealing. No one's stealing. No one's stealing. That's kind of what I've done. It's something. It's a skill I've learned at Gateway Fur Meet with Whinny City and Ponyville Ciderfest. They really try to keep us at our roughly 20 hours, maybe a few hours more. So I got a lot more free time. Again, the first day I didn't really work until 5. But with GFM, because there are so few of us, especially in security, you don't get a lot of breaks. So I'm kind of used to roam shopping because if I waited until I was off to shop, I wouldn't buy anything at Gateway Fur Meet. So it's nice having all the extra time. At the same time, though, it feels weird to me because I'm used to constantly working at a convention, specifically GFM. Again, I love working GFM. If I didn't like it, I wouldn't do it. Absolutely. For any of these cons, if I hated volunteering, I would not be doing it. So I love volunteering at these cons. They are going to be a lot of work. And for me, I take that work very, very seriously. I've actually been complimented by a few people, like you hire up people on the staff, because I do take my job very seriously. And that's neither here nor there. So I do work a little bit Saturday. I was patrolling until like technically 10:30, and I realized, oh wait, I was off like a half an hour. Oh well. But I walk around and do more vendor hall stuff until about 11:30. Wait, 12:30? I think it was 11:30, where we have Pony Show trivia. I love Pony Show trivia. It was myself, JD, Pink Sands, and Sailor Texas was able to join us. Karen Chan took over her stand while she did that, and we were once again Everypony Pony like we usually are. We came about, I'd say 5th, but kind of closer to like the top end as opposed to the bottom end. We did really well, though. Some of those, oh man, that couple is good. They can come up with really, really hard questions. It's honestly insane. And every year, there's just somewhere. Who remembers that? No one remembers that, but there's always one group that remembers like the most obscure BS in the history of ponies. It's ridiculous. But I still clap for them because that's insane. How do you remember that? It's amazing. So after that, I realized that I needed to switch my hours. I should have looked at the schedule because they gave us the schedule beforehand. I kind of glanced at it. I didn't get to really take a hard look at it. So this was on me. But there were going to be a couple conflicts. So I was like, can I just roam now and switch with somebody later, that's fine. But anywho, after Pony Show trivia, I went ahead and did some roaming, and then I went to get ready for the sponsor feast. Did not take a picture of that, unfortunately, but I know we had lettuce wrap burgers. We had, I think, a kind of salad and the apple pie for dessert. Very, very thick apple pie, also like half frozen. So I was struggling to eat that because it's kind of hard and it's really cold, and I have cold sensitivity, so that was not fun to eat. But with a sponsor dinner, you get to sit with one of the guests of honor, and I got there late, so I was sitting with Kazumi, which is still awesome. So I got to talk with her more as well as with the other people at our table, and we did talk a little bit about the show, but we also just talked about random things. It's a lot of fun. That's what those things are for. You don't necessarily have to talk about like voice acting or whatever with the said voice act. Immediately after dinner was a social hour, and that's just standing around. You get, I think, a one free drink, which I honestly didn't bother, but I got to chat with pretty much everyone, though I spent the bulk of the time with Lauren, who voices Silverstream for G4. Actually, there is a poster that has all 5 of the young 6 from G4 directly in front of me, so that's what I'm looking at. But she's a very excitable hippogriff, and she's really, really sweet. The character, obviously. But Lauren is just as excitable as Silverstream. She is really sweet, and she was asking us, what our favorite moment of the con was so far. And a lot of people would say that moment right there, like just talking to her, and they genuinely meant it. It wasn't like I'm not sucking up or doing anything like that. They genuinely meant it. But for me, it was just being around the people that love what I love. It wasn't one particular moment. It was this con and the people. I just loved, from meeting all the new vendors to just talking with attendees, especially when I'm on duty, and making sure everything's okay, making sure they're enjoying themselves, to talking with the guests of honor, even be it at their autograph table or the dinner and the social hour, because you have more time to talk with them then. So it was just, I love the people. I really, really do. And Laura was so excitable. She was talking about random things, and they brought up a Jackbox panel that she's going to be at with the other guests of honor. She's like, "Oh, I'm so pumped! Like, my family plays Jackbox all the time. I am ready for Jackbox." We're all just laughing because and I said this to her. I mentioned this with Ellie Ray. I mentioned this with Giles Payton. I'm not sure how to pronounce his name. I'm sorry, but they go to these things and they're in it. They are just in it 100%. They are interacting with the fans. They're having the time of their life, and you can tell they're having the time of their life. And it's the same way with Lauren, the way she was just talking with us and chatting with us. You could tell she's having the time of her life. Not to say that Andrea and Kazumi aren't, because they absolutely were too. And Andrea even donated some things to the charity auction. But that's just something I love to see from guests. The fact that you really want to be here and you really are enjoying your time here. And I just love seeing that. So just something that I really, really hit me when we were in the social hour. But after that, I did do a little bit of D&D, but it's like a 2-hour slot. And what are you doing with D&D in 2 hours? So I couldn't say for all of that, but I got to start it off. And then I was roaming from about 9 to, I think I got off at 1:45. So, I'm sorry, not roaming. I was actually at the door Saturday night. So I think it was Match Game and Nostalgia. I have no idea what that panel is, but well, okay, I have an idea of Nostalgia. But and then kind of like just the back way, because at one point the two, and the After Dark vendor hall I think was back there too. But at one point, the only panels available are in this one hallway, and they are both 18 plus. So if you want to go down this hallway, you are showing me your badge and your ID or your hand stamp if you have it. So that's kind of my backroom patrol. Just me sitting there and making sure you have either a stamp or your ID, as well as obviously your badge. I think I got off around 1:45. So Sunday rolls around and it starts with an escape room. So there was a group called, I think, Fuzzy Logic. I think it's not Furry Logic, Fuzzy Logic. They are at GFM as well. I've seen them. I believe they're at PVCF. But they just make escape rooms on site. And I've never done any. I've done escape rooms before. I've never done any there. But JD and Peak Stands really wanted to try one. It was kind of a pain trying to figure out when I could join. And they're like, and I told them at one point, if I can't join you guys, just do it. Just go. I want you guys to have fun. If I can't, if my schedule doesn't allow me to, whatever. But I want you guys to have fun. But we were able to do a 10 to 11 slot, and it was very kind of like kind of Indiana Jones, or if you've seen My Little Pony Daring Do, that kind of what she does. Just you go and when the escape room is you're just in a closed area and you have an hour to figure out clues and puzzles to free yourself, so to speak. And I mean, if you don't, you're sad. Basically, that's it. It's not like there are numerous movies called Escape Room. One was a wider release. I stars Taylor Russell. Find that one. I can't remember what year it came out. That is an escape room with bigger stakes. I'll just say that. But if you can always look up escape rooms, and you can look at that movie too if you want. Just keep in mind, in real escape rooms, there's no death involved, no actual death involved. But we had a lot of fun. It was the three of us and a fourth person. And we did get to take a picture at the end. I'll put that picture up here. JD's not a fan of pictures, so that is why he's not in this picture. But he was there. He did help us solve the escape room altogether. I was slightly more helpful than I thought I'd be because I'm pretty dumb. So I'm not good at puzzles. I avoid puzzles. I don't know why I keep buying puzzle games on Steam because I'm bad at them. Still haven't gotten through Little Nightmares. But we had a blast. It was a lot of fun. And so 11, I'm on duty, so I had to kind of sprint my way out. And luckily, I'm just roaming, so it's not as big of a deal. It's not like I have to be at a specific panel to sit and door for it. But I did that for probably a little, maybe until close to 1, and then I headed down to autographs. I'm not getting autographs. I got mine Friday. I got those out of the way. But I'm helping them with autographs. So I believe Bubbles, who was in charge of autographs, was there to kind of help me and show me kind of how things work and all that. And I had an idea because with Friday I did help them out before I got my autograph. But it went pretty smoothly. We just had, of course, 3 people. Chris was gone at that point. But and Andrea's line was ridiculous, like it usually is. But one thing that was really cool, and I guess Saturday they had to cut it off, and a lot of people, well, not a lot, like maybe 20 people, wanted to see Andrea. They didn't get a chance to, so they gave them tickets and said, "Come on back today, Sunday, and you will go to close to the front of the line." And that's exactly what we did. So again, Child and ADA go first, but after that, we kind of alternated between those ticketed people and the sponsors, so they got to go in at roughly the same time, and that was really, really nice. So, and I believe Andrea said she was going to stay until everyone who wanted to see her could see her. And she's willing to stay 3 hours if she had to, which is absolute insanity. But it is so unbelievably kind of her to do that, because she does not have to do that. Autographs are usually between an hour, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, maybe 1 to 1:30, an hour and a half. But so 3 hours is insane. But it's really cool of her to offer that. I don't know how long the autographs actually went that day. I didn't go for the whole shift. I cut it off because I wanted to be in the chair. Well, I wanted to work the charity auction, which means going to the charity auction and standing or sitting and look. I can't stand for long periods on my feet. I got flappy. So I'll look around. No one's doing anything stupid. No one ever does anything stupid on the charity auction. It's pretty tame. But I'm looking around. But if I see something I'm interested, yep, I'm gonna, I'll bid for that. So yeah, I did a little bit of last minute shopping and then we headed over to the charity auction. I did miss the first hour of it, so I didn't see everything, but there were a lot of really cool things. There was one, I don't know, I think I got a picture of it. I think I got a picture of it, but it was a 3D printed Luna that someone painted. It was gorgeous. It was also pretty big. Probably not that big. And it went for like $2,300. And no, I did not get that. I don't have that kind of money, but there were a lot of really cool things available for this auction. One, I think it was Sailor Texas and Karen Chan's friend Jane, who was also a sponsor with her partner, but she was in that metalworking thing with me, and she grabbed one of the extra hammers and got all the guests of honor to sign it. They put that in the auction. I actually did bid for that. It went a little higher than I wanted, and then everyone dropped their hands like, okay, come on, people, like 45. I should have put my hand up for 45 and just taken it. Because someone jacked it up to $67. I was like, fine, you take it. Fine. I did win something from the charity auction, which you will see in the next video. Well, not some things, because there's a bundle of things. One thing I'm really pissed I didn't get was if you, and I'll again be pictures dispersed of just the con, you will see some of the banners for this year. You'll see the big main stage banners, which have the characters on them. So I think Deep Dish was here, Hoofwork was here, and then Mustard Mark and Sleepy Bean shared a banner. I wanted the Hoofwork banner because it being Ren Fair themed, and these were huge. These are not this wall, not like my short wall either, but it's still a very, very big banner. That would have been perfect in my tavern in the basement, because my basement is going to be D&D thing, which is essentially medieval themed. So I wanted that so badly, and I kept waving my hands like, oh well, everyone dropped it. No, I'm right here. I see me. He finally sees me and it's like, okay, 175 or whatever it was. Going once, going twice. And then someone put up their hand. I was like, are you kidding me? I audibly yelled, are you kidding me? And we all just laughed about it because I'm not going to attack that person. I was just, ah. And they went way high. I was out of cash. I knew I did not have that kind of cash. So I'd let you have it. I don't have the money for this. But I was mad. Because those banners cannot be cheap. That they absolutely cannot be cheap to produce, and sometimes they just go for ridiculously small. Last time I was at Midwest Fur Fest, they had their snow day banner that was maybe half the width of this wall, maybe, and it went for like $250, and it was very affordable. Honestly, it just wouldn't have matched my theme in the basement, so I didn't go for it. But that's insane for something that big and that durable and that heavy, that is going to last. This isn't, these banners are made of very nice material. They're supposed to last a while. So it's just crazy to me. Sometimes they just don't go for anything, but others go for a ton. It just depends on the character. I've learned that people don't seem to like hoofwork, so maybe that was why he didn't go for very high. But fun charity auction. And another thing, I mentioned Andrea donated a few things. One thing she donated was a rubber chicken. It makes sense if you've seen the show. Pinkie Pie, one of the characters she plays, is a party planner. She's all about planning parties. I just said that. But she has she doesn't have it, but there's another character named Cheese Sandwich, who's another party planner. Cheese Sandwich was played by Weird Al Yankovic. They actually did get him to voice this character twice in the show. And he had a rubber chicken named Boneless. And Andrea presented a fairly large rubber chicken that said to Andrea from Weird Al on one side, and on the other side said to, there goes my light again. So she had this giant chicken that said to Weird Al from Andrea, and the other side to Andrea from Weird Al. But she donated that. I'm pretty sure Nurse Matt got that because I think I have a picture of him with that rubber chicken. It was actually huge, but it was really, really sweet of her to donate that. But charity auction is always fun. And after that, closing ceremonies where they announce the theme for the next year, which is racing, I think. So I did like the art for the racing. I don't really care about racing, but I did like the art. And Pink Sand, or not Pink, Karen Chan and Sailor Tex are actually thinking about volunteering next year, which would be really, really awesome because they always need volunteers. Cons always need volunteers. We aren't paid. We do get a free badge. Yes, that is a perk, but other than don't get paid. And we're doing this, because I'm pretty sure a lot of these cons are run by nonprofits, including worthwhile events and whatever Gateway Fermi is called, or maybe just Gateway Fermi. So yeah, they run on volunteers as well as guests and then the attendees, of course. So it was a lot of fun. And We had a good turnout, raised about 32K for a youth outlook. I did not mention the charity this entire time. They are an LGBTQ organization or organization that helps, I'll say, youth from LGBTQ youth from 5 to 24. And they do a lot of different outreach events, a lot of different like seminars and things like that, or ways to help like parents. Just they do all kinds of really awesome things. Definitely look them up. And yeah, we raised 32K for them, which was a new record for Whinny City, and was also more than their last 2 years combined. So we did an amazing job. Uh, Unfortunately, Ponyville Ciderfest will never beat its record because that was 100K and that was a weird year. But good on Whinny City this year for raising so much money for an awesome cause. And after closing ceremonies, that's pretty much it. Well, for most attendees. I am still there. I was helping them take down. That's why I stayed until Monday to help with takedown as well as taking things to storage. So I did help much of AV, audiovisual, that evening. I also took some things to like the trucks and things like that. I think we got done like midnight, and then they have like a dead pony after that. That like many, especially if you were furries, you probably heard the dead dog dance. GFM has one as well. It's usually right after closing ceremonies. But with the dead pony, it is strictly for volunteers. It's just kind of a thank you for the volunteers. It happened at midnight though. I was like, can we like postpone the dead pony to like when I'm not dead? So I'm very much dead right now. That no, it's a lot of fun just kind of sitting and chatting with people from all departments, which is something you might not necessarily get to do depending on what your department is. So, like, say if you're AV, you're probably sequestered somewhere behind, like, with the stage or something. You might not be able to talk to many other people who aren't AV. And more like that. With Royal Guard, it's a little easier for us to talk to people because we're constantly roaming everywhere. But it just depends. It just depends on where you are. But yeah, I died after that. Pink Sands and JD had left around noonish on Sunday, so I had the room to myself, and I just died. So tired. And the Monday, I was able to get a late checkout, but it didn't matter because we were leaving by 11, and we went to the storage facility to just put stuff away. And that was Charlie and a few others from various departments, and that was pretty much it. So after we got that done pretty quick, though, my knee, or not my knee, but my leg started messing with me Monday. I was like limping; it was really bad. But I left probably about 1ish. I got home, um, maybe 4:30 here, and I immediately died. So tired. I did take a break, and I did try to be productive when I woke up that Monday morning or that Monday evening. But my leg was hurting really bad, and it got worse on Tuesday, which me working on my garage did not help that either. But I had been dead set on working on cleaning out my garage, and my mom came and helped me out. Thank goodness that, and I spent the Juneteenth actually cleaning up the last half of my garage. So now my garage is clean. Yes, but yeah, that did not help my leg. Leg is now under control. I'm on anti-inflammatory, but yeah, that was the weekend. It was a whirlwind of a weekend. I absolutely loved it. I love volunteering. I love meeting people that way. I love just talking to attendees as I'm walking around. I love seeing our vendors. Miss Melee, as I said earlier, was there. Bought too much stuff from her like I usually do. But I bought things from other people too. So you'll see all that in the next video. But yeah, that was Whinny City 2026. Absolutely no regrets. I absolutely don't regret my sponsor package either. And that the Pegasus sponsor is not a cheap package. That is something that I will not be doing every single event. I do not have the money to spend every single of. I've been calling it the Charlie Birds between PVCF and Whinny City are both owned by them, as well as MLP. MSP was until 2019, and now it's dead. But yeah, I do not have the money to spend on that sponsor package every single time. But I'm glad I was able to do it now because did get a lot of really cool merch with it, which again you'll see in the next video. But the experience, just going to things like the gala or even that sponsor panel where the metalwork, like who, like a who comes up with that, but it really worked and it was a lot of fun. So I just, in all seriousness, if you can make it out to one of these conventions, do. It's always a blast going to these events that Charlie and Michelle put on. They really work hard. They and their entire staff. I'm not trying to give myself a pound of back. Everyone else who's not a volunteer is not me. They work really hard to put these things on. There's a lot of time, a lot of work, and a lot of money that go into these events, and they knock it out of the park every single time. So please, absolutely, if you can, go to one of these events. Even if you're not super big on My Little Pony, I understand this is going to be a niche thing. This isn't like the furry fandom where, other than anthropomorphic animals, it's there's no IP tied to it. Or even like when I went to GalaxyCon, that's an everything con. You'll see, anime, gaming, My Little Pony. You'll see everything there. So I understand this is going to be a bit more concentrated, it being one specific franchise. But yeah, definitely check it out if you're interested. It's always been a lot of fun. Oh, I am tired and I need to drive to St. Louis in like 20 minutes. I still have to shower. So I will wrap this up. You guys know the drill. If you like what I do, like, subscribe, hit that bell for notifications. The next video will be con merch. How it always is. I have no idea how long that video is going to be. It's going to be long though. I bought a lot of stuff. I especially cannot wait to get to the charity auction items that I won, because that was just insanity. And I feel like I should have regrets, but I don't have regrets for that. Thanks to that, I have some duplicate items now, but it's fine. It'll be fun. But yeah, I will see you in that next video. So until then, you're seeing this after the 4th of July, so I hope you had a good Independence Day, those of you who are in the States. I hope everyone who cares about the World Cup is enjoying the World Cup. I've seen more of the World Cup than I ever thought I would because I've been to my dad's house twice, once for severe weather a couple weeks ago, and this last weekend for Father's Day. So that's what he's doing. He's watching the World Cup. So if you've been watching the World Cup, I hope you've been enjoying that. I hope you guys are having a great summer, and I will talk to you later. Goodbye.